Tadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Majamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Namaste. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay, we are on the ninth chapter, verse 2. This is the greatest knowledge. So we saw that with the new chapter, Krishna Guru begins moving into the ultimate knowledge, which is the knowledge of the superior, the real true nature of Vishwara, which is Nirguna. And in the previous, on the 8th chapter, it was say, stay with Saguna, Arjuna, sending a message to any and every one of us. Stay with Saguna until you feel comfortable with Nirguna Atma. And then he begins now addressing the ultimate, the most important sadhana, which is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, all of that direct to the inquiry into the nature of reality, which is Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Brahman. And then he begins, before he starts laying the sadhanas and everything else, he begins doing a great deal of publicity, of advertisement. And then the best one, he began doing that. In verse 2, he says, this is the greatest knowledge, the greatest secret, the most sacred, which is directly attainable because you don't need to go anywhere. It's not something other than yourself, your true intrinsic nature. Therefore, it's totally direct, this knowledge. If it meant to be direct, otherwise it remains indirectly and you keep yet projecting Brahman as something other than yourself, something that's whole, full, and complete once you reach that, once you get there. No, it's just a question of removal of the ignorance that somehow is preventing us to claim the Aham Brahmasmi with total, full, doubtless conviction. So it's directly attainable and unopposed to Dharma. This is very important as well. You cannot have a yoni that keeps violate Dharma right and left, because that is indication that there is something missing. There is something missing in terms of this assimilation that brings about a transformation, which is nothing but a life in harmony with Dharma. Not by punya, not by observing Dharma, but naturally a life in harmony with Dharma, as Krishna said at certain stage of the Bhagavad Gita. I am the desire in total, never in in harmony, in accordance with Dharma. So it becomes natural and very easy to pursue, and you're gonna recognize your imperishable nature. So we have seen this yesterday, the second verse. In Mundaka, it's called Vidya, different names again and again in our text, pointing to the same principle. This is, it's called the knowledge, it's called Paravidya. You can give several reasons. One is this knowledge deals with the highest Nirguna Svarupa nature of Brahman as the only Satyam reality, whereas all other branches of spiritual knowledge deals with Saguna Ishwara, or the changing nature of this changing universe, including the changing deities, which are still configurations done by the power of Maya, with the gunas of Maya. Even the change aspect of the Lord, here we go. Even the Lord itself, it comes under Maya. It's Mithya Lord, living in a Mithya Jagata, in which you find numberless Mithya Jivas. So the fact that we know that it's mithya does not solve our problem. We cannot say it's all mithya, you don't care. No, it's still, when you're in mithya, you need to live according to the laws and principles of mithya so that you can live a relatively conflict-free life, develop a sattvic mind, and then get the knowledge in regards to the reality we see, the projection, the reality we see, the apparent reality. You need to have a apparent jiva with apparent purified maya, so that the knowledge here referred as Brahma Vidya can be again understood and retained with total clarity. So Swamiji says it's indeed very glorious. The second thing in this advertisement, verse 2, is that it will give you fulfillment at all levels. Swami reminds us that the sense of limitation is intrinsic to the body-mind sense complex in all levels, different levels, all levels, all through the five koshas. There is a huge sense of limitation, which is not just an idea, it's a fact. As a body-mind sense complex, which are finite by time and limited by all means. And then Swami goes about playing with his audience. People are limited by the body, the aging body, and then they go to different treatments or therapies to hide the aging process. Some of them go even to the extreme of plastic surgery. And then there is a great limitation and dissatisfaction as far as psychological personality, physical personality, mental personality, emotional personality, psychological. So in all levels, I feel that I could use some more love. People do not appreciate me enough, my children and my neighbors, and people do not understand, and so on. And then I have a lot of dissatisfactions in life on all levels. Okay. My son does not love and respect me. I don't have this problem, but some people go through that kind of situation as well. So all of that is samsara. Yeah? All these limitations with something that is limited by nature, and by mistake we have identified with our finite limiting nature, and then we suffer of the sickness of samsara just due to a mistaken identity. Even if I'm physically okay, financially I can have huge limitations as well. Swami presents a little joke. A man came to him and said, Swamiji, my children provide me with everything. They went to the States, they became engineers, they make a lot of money, they send money every month, they can take a flight and be here if I'm dying. But there is one complaint. They only come if I'm really, really seriously ill, close to dying. And they send money, but they don't give me love and attention. It's another limitation. Psychological limitation. I need attention. I need love, validation, appreciation. And then we have intellectual limitations. We know that. So some people, they have all kinds of knowledge. Sometimes we hear to these people say, wow, it's amazing. Huh? These people is very knowledgeable about this, knowledge about that, what about that. So before Yana, Atma Yana, so there was always a sense, I could improve on the level of knowledge, intellectual knowledge. I could have more knowledge, because, mostly everybody out there, unless the person is a yoni, identifies with this intellectual knowledge. And there is always room to get more academic, intellectual, scientific knowledge. And one feels small when you are before someone who has so much more knowledge. Some people, sometimes I listen and say, oh, I read since I was a small child, and I have this library. And like I say, the father of my first wife, he had a huge library, private library. He was a lawyer, and none of that is going to solve the problem, regardless of on how much knowledge we have. So some very wise people say, when I was young, I was proud and I thought I knew so much. Now that I'm older and wiser, I know that I know shit. I know nothing. So limitation in regards to more, I need more knowledge, more intellectual knowledge. The scientists have this problem, of course. Nobody's going to understand the Big Bang and what was there before. They can make some great inference, but as says the proverb, the more we know, the more the unknown appears before us. Before we did not know anything, we did not even know that we are ignorant. The more we start digging into knowledge, and then we say, oh my God, look at how much I do not know. So the sense of limitation may grow as you begin tapping into some knowledge. And Krishna Ji presents as well this knowledge, which is the intellect. He said in the seventh chapter, you do not have anything further to know for intellect such faith. It gives total intellect such faith also, and therefore it's greatest knowledge. So this greatest knowledge is gonna solve the problem of inadequacy and competition, comparison, with other people. It solves that problem because howsoever is the condition of your body mind in terms of knowledge, let's say, so you got a certain knowledge that broke away from this programming of compare yourself, believing that if you know more, you're gonna feel fuller and happier and more complete. You understand? It's just a shift of identification. And then you look at that, oh my God. So I know very little. I know nothing about these things, and you are totally okay because you are not identified with your intellectual knowing personality, let's say, knowledge. And it also shows that in the seventh chapter, it seems, it also says that this knowledge is the greatest secret, not easily available. This was on the seventh, but we are on the ninth now. Now he's saying that it's somehow easily accomplished and directly. But on the seventh, it was said that it's not that easy. It's simple, or I would say, James used to say, it's simple but not necessarily easy, not easily accomplished. Why? Because our tendencies, old vasanas, based on ignorance. What is the tendency? The tendency is to look for this true nature reality, the true nature of Brahman, God, as the only solution for the human problem. But we look for this as something other than also extrovertedness, extroverted, always project this Brahman as an object of knowledge, not to say about an object of experience for the people on the experiential yoga, which is more than 90+% of the people in the spiritual circles. So here some say this teaching is not available for most of the people. And it is, I think he's still referring to the 7th chapter here. Let me see. Yeah. No, he's referring now to a passage on Kathopanishad.
I have that passage if you want it.
Yeah,
I know what that says if you want it.
please.
It says, many there are who do not even hear of Atman, though hearing of him, many do not comprehend. Wonderful is the expounder, and rare the hearer.
Mm,
Rare indeed is the experiencer of Atman taught by an able preceptor.
yeah, it's a very beautiful verse, this passage. And is it Katho or is it Gita, chapter 7?
That's the Kato.
Katho. Okay. Yeah, this is very nice. Yeah, it's a wonder. It's a wonder. It appears in the Gita as well, if I'm not wrong, because I don't think I did the Katho. Uh, but it's a wonder many times. In the Gita is more in terms of it's a wonder that people do not see. It's a wonder that people, see it. Everything is a wonder, something on those lines. And here it still relate to the Kato. The teaching is not available for most of the people, and it's a great wonder. Uh, Vyasacharya says, greater wonder, in spite of learning for 25 years, there are many people who manage not to understand. There's still greater wonder, I do not say that. It continues to be a secret even after secret. So what more great secret you want? It continues to be a secret even after secret. So secret after secret, I don't know exactly what he means, but ignorance is a wonder. People who want to break away from this ignorance is a wonder. It's a wonder that people who want to break away, they go for decades studying the scriptures and still they continue ignorant. They manage not to understand as Swamiji is saying. And we can look at these reasons. The most important reason is this spiritual ignorance is so profoundly old and hardwired. It's beginningless, as we say, and everybody has it. To my take, because I trust the scriptures, it's beginningless because it's built into this projection. So everybody here is born in this physical realm with too much rather than Thomas to hold this body mind sense complex together, understanding. And then somehow, and we moved, yeah, let's say civilizations after civilization, this planet, feeding this ignorance. And we are born from that ocean of ignorance. We live in societies that are held in ignorance, culturally and sometimes deliberately. Uh, and it's very difficult to break away from this ignorance. So why people do not manage to directly have this knowledge and understand it directly? It's a wonder. This is a wonder. What? Because Maya is a wonder. The way it projects this and somehow hides the reality, the same way we miss the sunlight illuminating, revealing everything around us, such as the hand. you know. So we have Maya Shwara, this light that somehow presents us with this world of objects, and we miss the light of consciousness. So it's a wonder. The greatest, trickest, yeah? Ishwara, Maya. Swami says that in Sanskrit, this word Raja Guhayam, it's a compound word. So let's try to understand this one. I read it briefly. Yes. Then what is the next? So Gunanam, Raja, Guyanam. So he's referring to the power of Rajoguna, yeah, that somehow contributes for us not seeing that which is self-revealing, which is consciousness. Maybe it's referring to that, But we know that there is also Tamaguna playing a role there. So Tamaguna is said to conceal this reality which shines in our very minds or intellects. It conceals, and then Rajoguna somehow projects reality in the phenomenal world of objects. You see, the light is reality, somehow Tamaguna conceals it, and then Rajoguna says, no, I don't like to be in the dark, not knowing it, just reality is the Mithya world of project object. And there we go, the entire scientific communities of the world looking for reality in Mithya. So I'm having a student that has been studying with me in Portuguese for many years. And now he's proposing himself as a Vedanta teacher. He's making advertisements and this and that. And he has a scientific mind. And he's now mixing up a lot of things, quantum physics, and then biology and neurology, all this modern science, mixing it all as if by mixing the Vedanta fragments with elements of science, which he stopped presenting this because I never gave much space for that, meaning to say I was trying to, in few words, to bring him to what counts, which is the inquiry into the nature of reality, which has nothing to do with science. But now he's taking off. And the first impulse I had is, so this guy now, he's charging money, making publicities among people, neuroscience and biologies and quantum physics, mixing everything. And I say, I'm going to block this guy not to enter my classes. And then I saw it again. I said, what's he gonna do? So he can go in the YouTube, in the internet, and still keep stealing. These are people who still mix up with some other notions, and then they sell. I thought, so he's going to continue stealing. Maybe I should just leave it out to Ishwara. He's gonna come. He never opens his video, and camera. And then when I see that he's there, I have to be very gentle to say something, but nothing's going to help him because I have been trying that for years to direct him into within the light of the teachings, but people get lost in Mithya and in anything in the subtle, science, physics, and biologies. And so this is the power of Maya. Tamoguna is going to conceal. Rajoguna is going to search for it in the wrong place. Rajoguna compels the person to go for, search for, seek for. I'm just close this door here. The United States is a very funny place. My son lives in a condominium, which is nice, with a lot of infrastructure, gym and 2 swimming pools and this, and a lot of people cleaning up all the time. So instead of leaving the leaves around the roads here, they're all the time making noise, cleaning. It's an obsession. You know, you can do it less often because every time there is some noise, people trying to make the environment as perfect as possible.
And they end up making it imperfect because all those leaves are homes for all the insects that pollinate, and it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
crazy.
It's insane. You know, they go blowing these leaves all over the place. You know, I mean, where are you gonna take it? You know, the wind is gonna move it again. What's the next glory of this wisdom? Oh, this is very nice. It's said that this knowledge is the greatest purifier there is in the in the how you say, in the scope of human experience. Sometimes I know how to say things in Portuguese language. So human beings, they somehow they know that we have to go through a process of purification, refinement, to go into a certain knowledge, which is the more subtle. And then it's said that Atmayanam, this knowledge, is the greatest purifier there is in creation, in reference to the human beings, of course. Only human beings have access to Atmayana. And this Atmayana removes a great deal of impurities in the form of karmas, Sanchita Gama, and Parabhada karmas. Parabhada said that it has to exhaust in any case, but the point being here is it's the greatest purifier of the body mind. Okay, so I think you heard me saying testify to this because I was surprised of the transformation experience when self-recognition took place in terms of personality, the way I was responding to the my environment. Here some says it removes all the impurities, and say removes a great deal of impurities. So means to say, Karma Yoga is a great nature purifier. Upasana Yoga observes of Dharma. Dharma goes with Karma Yoga. Upasana purifies more, refines more. And then we have Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. All of this is purified so that we can gain the knowledge and retain the knowledge at all times. And then once we gain the knowledge and retain the knowledge, and then there is a rapid increase into purification of the body-mind complex. Okay, it's noticeable. It was clear to me. I was not understanding what happened to me, and I'm not the one reporting, saying things like that. And the scriptures say this knowledge is the greatest purifier. It's going to burn, a big load of those impurities. What kind of impurities? Raga Vesha, which brings about kama, krodha, and the entire realm of psychological disturbance, emotional, mental, psychological problems. All of that is based on self-ignorance, anyana. Once yana comes, it's very simple. The way this profound change happens is like all our problems. They are rooted in self-ignorance. All is the root cause of all our problems: mental, emotional, psychological problems. Yeah? And then self-knowledge purifies big time to the extent that the identity from the body-mind shifts to consciousness. And then what happens to that? It's no longer my actions, my parabhada, my sanchita, my life situation. You see that objectively because somehow there was a shift that transferred your sense of identity to conscious existence. Okay. And then if the shift happens, and then now you have the knowledge of your true nature, which is in harmony with reality, which is limitless conscious existence. Now, and that is called knowledge in opposition to ignorance. This ignorance is the root cause of all human problems. And this yana is going to destroy surely, gradually, but surely, these impurities to a large and larger extent. Therefore, is Pavitran the greatest purifier. Okay, purification before, and during Shravanamana and Nididhyasana, and then after self-knowledge was established in a total doubtless form, the great purifier. And then Swami presents another piece of logic here, which is it's important to understand as well. Oh, okay, I'm purifying. I got self-knowledge now. I purified. Okay, but he says it's not that you're going to purify everything that happened in the past. You are just free from the possibility of acquiring more and more impurities, because all impurities were due to self-ignorance. And then you have to keep doing a maintenance of cleaning up through punya, through karma yoga and dharma yoga. You're going to clean up, but you're going to clean it once for all impurities, including any possible future ones, will not be acquired. Why? Because you no longer believe that you are body, mind, sense complex. So the thing with Atmiyan is very much wonder. It's a great wonder, in fact, is because the goal of these teachings, what this teaching suggests is that only knowledge will set you free. And knowledge is made of knowledge, direct knowledge, paraksha yana. Here and there, the scriptures presents the benefit or the palam, yana palam, okay? Atyaman yana palam. Yeah? But we are motivated by atyaman yana palam. And some people start contemplate too much on these palams as well. And they start forgetting that the pala is a bonus, is a byproduct, is an effect. One has to be focused on the yana, which is going to neutralize or remove ignorance. Okay, so this bonus, this balance is put there just to encourage us not to stop, motivate us, inspire us. And then once this knowledge is well established, so the person will not acquire more impurities in the future times. Why? Because the identification with the doer and the experience was broken. But if you go for karma yoga and dharma yoga and pursuing artha karma dharma, you keep removing, but you keep acquiring more impurities. And then he gives a simple example. You go into the Ganga, you take a bath there, and it said that your impurities are gone, but the moment you step up, you start contracting more impurities. And then the third element here, he says this knowledge not only moves past impurity, but guarantee protection against future impurity. Therefore, and it is available, the last point, is available here now directly. So it appears very simple because it's here, always available, because this limitless conscious existence is never not present. It's present as what? Your very conscious existence. So Vedanta does not promise, Upanishads do not promise freedom or palams after that. This is not something very smart. It's adventures, benefits, because none of this can be verified. People fall for so many narratives of what you can get after you leave the body. None of this is verifiable, even if the person presents himself or herself as an avatar who I know of all realms, and I can tell you, that you're going to go there and you're going to be like this and like that. All the speculation. A lot of people, try to lead blind people trying to lead blind people. And blind people, the more blind they are, more easily they are deceived. So these the benefit coming from self-knowledge is that it's available experientially at all times, here now. And then Dharmaya, once you get this knowledge, which delivers right now, right here, to the extent that I internalize this knowledge clearly, doubtlessly, firmly. And then what happened? The person, without effort, begin living a life in harmony to Dharma. It does not mean that some Adamic tendencies may surface here and there, but it's very small Adamic, nothing really, you know. It can be something that was inappropriate to say, you know, a certain response that would be better not to put in the field. And so all these things, in keeping with the teachings. So this is important because in our tradition, we always consider Vedas as basic source of knowledge. Yeah. All the religious spiritual circles, they tap into the source of knowledge, which is revealed knowledge. So say our scriptures, and I do trust and believe in that, because the little I know from other spiritual religious structures, you know, I see them as, you know, how do you say, unfoldment or development from this pure source of knowledge. And usually it's like bits and pieces of this transformed into a religious structure or a philosophical structure, which do not present the elegance and logic and intellectual clarity that we find in the Upanishads. So, which is in keeping with the Vedic teaching, is acceptable in our tradition. We call it Trinity, but if anything is not in keeping with this tradition, this thing will not survive in India. So say Swamiji, he knows what he's talking about because he lives there and he knows the culture, he knows the history there. Buddhism never survived there because it has rejected God, the creator. You know? If you reject the Vedas, you are rejecting Ishvara, and then it's not going to survive in India, although it's originated in India. Buddhism, however great it was, did not survive here. It spread everywhere, but here, the very birthplace of Buddhism, it disappeared. Nowadays, people do not know the importance of Veda, but when Krishna is teaching Arjuna, that was a very important condition. It must be Vedic. And therefore, Krishna is afraid, and even Krishna's teaching will be acceptable in spite of Krishna being Avatara. The teaching will be accepted only if it is totally aligned, conformed, harmonized, you know, with the Vedas. So therefore, Krishna says, that's not my teaching. Vedanta, Vedic teacher, does not own the teaching. It says that this teaching belongs to the Lord. Even Krishna, being an avatar, say this teaching is going to be accepted if I do not change it, if I keep it within the Vedic tradition. That's why in the fourth chapter, beginning, Krishna tells, see, there are 3 verses there, not translated. Krishna does not claim originality of his teachings like any and all honest Vedanta exposer. He says, Arjuna, you accept this teaching not because I am Avatara. Even Avatara status is not a criterion to own these teachings. Krishna says you should accept this because this is in keeping with reality, which is the Vedic teachings. Buddha himself is accepted by many people as one of the avatars. Buddha, Shohira, Jaya, Baba, Hari, you have heard that. But even though Buddha is accepted as an avatar, the teaching not in keeping with the scriptures, in India, it disappeared. So why? Because in terms of spirituality, India is very advanced. It's the last spiritual, or it has always been there for the past few thousand of years, maybe, the spiritual capital of the planet. So if you reject God, you are not going to find a soil to grow in India. Therefore, Arjuna, this teaching that I present to you is in keeping with the Vedas. Gain this knowledge, and the Jiva Mukti is far easier than going into the entire process of Krama Mukti, as we have seen. It's far easier. Sukha means what? Comfortable, very comfortable. You can get Nirguna, Ishwara, Yana, and Jiva Mukta. It's much more comfortable than trying to go for Brahmaloka to gain Krama Mukti. For Krama Mukti, there are many rules to be followed. We are not going to go through all of that again. But in the 8th chapter, you have to do pasanas in such a discipline, consistency, and then at the time of death, you have to sit in a proper position and so on. Remember, that you are going to Brahmaloka to get self-knowledge and moksha. So, but now itself, it's easy. It's difficult to be able to sit and just imagine the time of death so that the energies go through Kundalini and the top chakra and whatsoever, So it's very uncomfortable, it seems. I don't give much importance to any of that. So Krama Mukti is really tough compared to the Vedas. Krama Mukti, which is more difficult and unpredictable, and Yana and Jiva Mukti is easier. And you don't need to die before you get the benefit. Therefore, Krishna says, Sukshukam. How you say this word? How you pronounce this word?
I think it's Susukam.
Thank you. Susukam compared to Krama Mukti. So meaning to say it's much easier. It's much easier is the meaning of Susukam, it seems. And then finally, Avyayam. This knowledge is imperishable in terms of its results. Palam Dristya Avayayam, which means one will get the benefit, which is a permanent benefit, unlike attaining higher lokas. Higher lokas, or punya, is also a palam. It's not yana palam, it's karma palam. What kind of actions? It's just upasana, a lot of upasana. Yeah. So, but it's still the result of a certain action. But when you get this upasana palam, you go to higher lokas, but it's not avyayayam. It's not a permanent, imperishable palam, This is not inexhaustible. It means that you're going to exhaust that kind of punya. The karma pala will go, and then you're going to have to produce more karma power doing more upasana. Yeah, this is the concept. Okay, like a meteor, we will land in lower lokas, and therefore, such a wonderful Shwarayana, Arjuna, I'm going to be in part. You may listen carefully. So, this is referring to verse 21. That's coming. Is that so? No. What is this? Which, it's a Purana, no. What text is this one?
The 921 is from the Gita. It says, when they have enjoyed the vast pleasures of heaven, the stock of their merits being exhausted, they return to the earthly plane.
Okay.
Thus, those who follow the Vedic rituals desiring objects of enjoyment repeatedly come and go.
Okay, he is anticipating the verse 21, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. How he says, yeah, I'm just anticipating we are going to see this verse soon. Like a meteor, we will land in lower lokas. Once we exhaust our punya, we just land into a lower loka, and therefore I have cartoons susukam avyavan, such a wonderful Shwarayana, Arjuna, I'm going to be in part. May you listen. Now he says, so therefore, let's go for Jivan Mukti, So just let's go for Atmayana. He's saying Ishwarayana. Sometimes it's confusing to keep swapping these words. There's nothing higher than Brahmayana or Atmayana. I'm going to present this knowledge to you. Listen very carefully. All to turn the attention, all of this to turn the attention of the seeker, Krishna is doing. It's just like a magician. He will not do the trick right away. He will play around, distracting the audience. He removes one of his dress one by one. And he dances. He does a lot of plays, lots of music. And then when you least expect, he does the trick. So Krishna, likewise, is a master magician. He's playing with us, giving lots of introduction before he pulls the trick. What is the trick? These people who have no faith in this teaching continue settling in the course of samsara, fraught with death, without attaining me. What is fraught, please? I forgot the meaning of this word, the literal meaning.
Fraught means upset, always concerned about, troubled by.
Okay. In the course of samsara, they're troubled with death, and therefore they never attain me. So how to develop faith on in these teachings, and stay with it is the key. So it's a wonder, really. It's a wonder how so easily the person gives up. And even if it does not give up, it starts betting on different kinds of spiritual paths or sadhanas. So sometimes I play saying my Brazilian group that you keep some investments in Atmiyana or this Atma Vichara. You keep some some of your money invest there, but you keep some of your money invest as well in other esoteric paths. I'm not talking about invest in Jnana Yoga and Karma Dharma or Upasana. No, that is okay. Okay. And then you start pulling the money from Karma Dharma Upasana and putting your money more and more on Jnana Yoga. I talk about people who is doing Vedanta, Karma, Dharma, and Nididhyasana or Shravana, while investing a lot on some esoteric other paths, or doing other kinds of sadhanas that have nothing to do with Vedanta. This is, no, I'm not going to put all my eggs on this basket. So I'm going to spread my risk. And then what happens to that? The person never develops a shraddha, confidence, trust in this process in a way that he can invest everything. We need to invest everything in this. You understand? So if we are just trying to play safe, I just spread my risks, So it does not work. If you don't have this faith, people who do not have the faith in this teaching, they are going to remain in the course of the samsara problem, which is people troubled with the limitation of time, which the greatest limitation is time. Time is that which somehow is building into creation that projects the objects and then from within begins destroying it. And then there is a sense of time there. So they will be there living afraid of that, the greatest limitation, and they will not be able to attain this liberation, this knowledge, liberating, transforming knowledge. Krishna says, in spite of all glorification, and also the glorification of this wisdom of attaining in the scriptures themselves, unfortunately, many people do not go for Atmayana. They do not go. Even though it's the greatest knowledge, the greatest sadhana, and it's available freely, another point, available freely. In most of the place, in many ashrams, many institutions, it's always given for free, whereas any other course will cost a lot of money. Will cost a lot of money. But there are people who make a living selling Vedanta. They do that by mixing up a lot of other things. Otherwise, it does not have an appeal. You understand? In order to sell something, you need to bring that thing to the level of somehow more people, general people. In Brazil, we have a guy in Rio de Janeiro that brought it down so badly that he mixed everything, most psychology, but a lot of things, studs of Sanskrit, asanas, and he sell his package very expensive. He became a multi-millionaire, and he calls it Vedanta. And what to do. So, but if you just follow the tradition and present it freely, present it in harmony with the original teachings, following the sampradaya and so on, people say, "Ooh, now, if this guy would be charging me a lot of money, I would have more shraddha." That's not the case. There is a psychology there. There is a psychology there that says, if it's for free, it may not have any value. There is a certain psychology there. But even if you present the purest form of Vedanta and you charge certain amount of money, people do not come close because they are not qualified. So it's freely available. It's not a question of charging or not charging. If you want to charge, you need to dilute the teaching so that people can see some value in terms of improvement of the body, mind, and its knowledge, its experience, those things. No? Any other course may cost a fortune, and people may go, and then there is a psychology. The Swami goes into that. If it's too cheap, immediately we suspect that it's no good. But my take is, even if you charge a fortune, people do not go for it. They are not. If you're not qualified, you cannot find the value. You are not going to be attracted to it. Therefore, people do not develop Shraddha in the efficacy of the teaching. So people at the beginning say, I'm going to give it a try for a few weeks, few months, a few years, but then I haven't got anything. So, and then more often than not, they walk away and try something else rather than go and stay with Karma Dharma and Vipassana to further develop qualifications within our tradition, within, and in harmony with the Vedic teachings. And then the teachings, Ishwarayana, very careful. Here, Dharma does not mean Dharma Takama. It does not refer to Punya, celestial Punyas. In this context, Brahma Vidya is called Dharma. Ishwarayana is called Dharma. And many people do not have faith in this teaching. So what is going to happen to them? So self-knowledge, as we have understood here, it must, if it fructifies, it has to be in harmony with Dharma, the individual who was benefit by that, and Brahmavidya is called Dhamma, therefore, in this passage here. Shwarayana is called Dharma. But unfortunately, many people do not have faith on the efficacy of this teaching. What's going to happen to them, as we have seen? They are going to miss this opportunity. That's simple, huh? They are not going to complete their journey because their lack of qualifications, compel them to give up. Krishna sympathizes with them. He says, all such people, they lose this great opportunity to attain me, attain Ishwara and Nirguna Brahman. They miss me, which is the only source of infinite Shanti and Ananda. I'm infinite Ananda, infinite security, infinite Ananda and Shanti. I am infinity itself. They lose the opportunity to attain me by attaining the true nature of reality, understanding. That's moksha, and that's what they miss. But no problem. Next time, maybe. Anything from you guys?
I'm really happy to start this 9th chapter. It's a beautiful one.
Yeah, it's promising, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So we meet again this coming Monday. If I manage to fly, I fly Tuesday late. So we most probably, I don't know, what was our original schedule? It was Monday and Friday only.
Monday, Tuesday, and Friday.
Okay. And then in any case, next week we meet Monday and Tuesday and probably Friday. So if I fly back Friday, I'm going to be available. If I don't fly, I will be available here coming Friday as well. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste.
Thank you, Orlando.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Melinda. Okay, have a good weekend.
You too.
Okay, bye now.